Hello and welcome to the kindergarten classroom at Alanson Community School. My name is Mrs. Rexinger and I'm the kindergarten teacher here. So come on in and I will give you a little glimpse into the kindergarten world. We thought it would be good to do a video since we couldn't have kindergarten roundup this year, just to give you a little bit of an idea of how we run our day here in Alanson in the kindergarten classroom. So I thought I would start with our schedule. This is a very brief overview of how we run our days here in kindergarten. So we always start with our morning meeting when we all gather on the rug and we do some sort of morning exercise, some sort of social skill practice of speaking and listening to each other, telling stories, and it's our chance to get to know each other a little bit better. After that, we have our reading block time in the morning. So we will do a mini lesson. It might be writing related, reading related, spelling related, letter sound, just depending on what time of the year we are at, depends on what we are going to be doing for that part of our morning. And then we go into literacy centers. So we run our mornings by small group. So I will have a small group at my table and the rest of the kids will be in a specific group. So they might be at reading center that day where they're doing different letter sound activities. They might be at listening center where they're listening to a book. They might be reading a book in our library here in the classroom. Or they might be on their iPad with our specialized writing and reading apps that are on there. So that is a rotation that we do every day. After that, we go into free play. The kids have 30 minutes to use their imagination and socialize and play with their friends. We have lunch after that. And then right from lunch, they'll go to music for half the time and then they switch to PE. So every day they'll have music and PE. And then when they come back into the class, we have our math block. And so I will do a mini lesson all together. We might be learning numbers, practicing numbers, adding, subtracting. And then we will break out into rotations again, just like we did for reading. So the kids will have different rotations that they go to that have different math games for them to practice and play with the people in their group. After that, we head outside for some recess. And when we come back in, we have a quick snack before we do our last part of the day, which changes every day depending. So our last chunk will rotate every day between social studies, science, health, and art. So it'll be different depending on the day of the week, and then it will be time to go home. So kindergarten is a pretty remarkable year. Kids go from just knowing their ABC songs to spelling words and sentences. And so they go through a lot of transitions throughout the year. So we believe in kindergarten that the more hands-on the activities are, the better the kids are going to learn, the more it's going to set in, and obviously the more fun it is for them, and they want to learn more. So we'll start the year with learning the letter formations and how we write letters. So we'll do different activities where they have to actually build the letters. And then we'll move on to matching uppercase to lowercase, matching letter names to letter sounds. And we just keep going on where then they are learning to actually sound out 3-letter words. And by the end of the year, your child will be completely forming words on their own. So a couple more parts that we have in our Reading ELA program here in Alanson is we have a writing center. And so as I explained earlier, that is part of our rotation that the kids will visit every day. And there will be different activities. We will switch it up. But it's a great way for them to practice all different sorts of writing. So some of the things that we practice in kindergarten is how to draw and write a book. And so we really try to practice with them connecting our words to our pictures, just like a storybook that we would read. We also practice how to draw a picture and write the word underneath. You will notice throughout the year when your child enters kindergarten that they're going to come home with papers and words are not going to be spelled right, and that is okay. We encourage them to write the sounds that they hear. And as you know, some of our words in the English language do not make sense on how they are spelled. So don't be surprised if your child is coming home with words spelled wrong, but if you actually sound them out, they're right. And that is a plus in our book. That means that your child is starting to realize how to take those sounds they hear out loud and write them down to make letters. We also practice lots of rainbow writing. And so it's a fun way to practice writing different things. So in the beginning of the year, Rainbow Write will start with letters, then it'll move to sight words, and then we will continue on with our CVC or our 3-letter words. So it's a great way for them to practice writing and saying the words. Another great thing we use here in Alanson is our Heggerty Phonemic Awareness Program. So every morning, we call it a word game in kindergarten, and it's part of our morning meeting. And it's a great way for our kids to practice rhyming, not rhyming. We practice nursery rhymes during that time. We practice our initial sounds, our ending sounds, our middle sounds, changing those sounds out to make new words. So all sorts of different wordplay activities. So just like we talked about for reading, we want math to be as hands-on as possible. We want the kids to really realize that a number is concrete. It's something that we can see or touch, and that it means a quantity. So we use lots of manipulatives in math. Your kids will be working with, we've got bears and frogs and foxes and all sorts of tiny manipulatives that they can actually use, feel, and move as they're counting. We have our double-sided counters, which are good for when we start adding and subtracting, because they can have a red number and they can have a yellow number. The kids will be using dice a lot. We do a lot of math games, which is a fun way for them to not realize that they're learning because they're doing these super fun math games. We'll teach them how to use a 10 frame, which is super important for math and starting to easily be able to identify numbers. And one of the most important things I think for math that we do in kindergarten is we show that you can show a number in more than one way. And so this is one example. We do a lot of bingo in here. And it's important for the kids to realize that 7 on a 10 frame and on dice and tally marks and cubes and a number line all mean the same thing. So we spend a lot of time focusing on showing the same number multiple ways. Another thing we do in math in kindergarten is measurement. So we spend a lot of time on measuring objects and figuring out which one is longer or shorter. We also do more or less, and adding, subtracting, counting up to 100, which is always fun when they finally get there to count all the way up to 100. And so those are just a couple things that we do here in kindergarten for math. So now that you know all of the different strategies and the things that your kids will be learning for reading, our end goal for all of that is for them to be able to pick up a book and be able to read the words and appreciate the words. And so we will spend lots of time learning all different things about a book. We will practice nonfiction and fiction and the difference between them. We will talk about the different story elements that then fall into those. We will learn about characters and setting and problem and solution. And we will learn about cause and effect. We will also talk about how one book has pictures, the other one has photographs. Why? What's the difference between that? We will talk about different books and the facts that are in them. And those are the books that we can learn from. And so your child will learn so many different features of a book. The author, the illustrator, what do they do? Can they be the same person? There are so many skills that your child will learn in kindergarten. But I truly believe that some of the most important ones they will learn is how to communicate and interact with other people. So we spend a lot of time in kindergarten on those social and emotional practices. We use a program here at Alanson, and it is a program we do twice a day. They're short videos, and they give the kids skills on what to do to regulate their emotions and to be able to identify when something isn't normal, and if they're feeling sad or mad or angry, and how they can de-escalate before it gets worse. So the program that we do goes through all different emotions that the kids might be feeling, and then it also gives them strategies to use to help regulate their bodies. Some of the examples are breathe 5 times, count to 10, walk away, have a glass of water. And so I truly believe that this is so important for kindergarten. They are still so young and they don't know how to regulate that yet. So we spend a lot of time here in kindergarten. And as I'm sure most of you know, here at Alanson, we do the Safe, Respectful Achiever school-wide, and that is our positive behavior system. So we have a blue bucket in our classroom, and we spend every day in the beginning talking about what does it mean in kindergarten to be a safe, respectful achiever, and what can we do to show that. And when a kid is caught being a safe, respectful achiever, they will get a yellow ticket and they will put their name on it and we will drop it in our bucket. And once a month, we will have a school-wide assembly in the gym. And Mrs. Cook will call all of us down to the floor one at a time, and we will pick 2 tickets out every month for kids who have been being safe, respectful achiever. And then they get a reward that is on the list that they get to choose from. And so we truly believe that if we can constantly praise that positive behavior, we're going to have better end results. And it's a great way to show the kids how we should be acting when we are in school. I've had some parents ask, how can I prepare my child for kindergarten? And these are some things that I have felt could be very helpful for your child to know prior to getting to kindergarten. As you know, there are more students and teachers in a classroom, and so if your child knows how to zip their coat and button their pants or their snow pants, tie their shoe, then it makes the day go a lot smoother, and we can get and transition to different activities quicker. So I encourage you this summer to spend some time working on your child's ability to clothe themselves and unclothe themselves, and be able to do that all on their own. I also think that it's wonderful for a child to have a great sense of the alphabet and their numbers before they get to kindergarten. You should have received a packet in the mail with all the information that you need for Kindergarten Roundup. So you can fill that out and get it back to the school and get your child all registered for fall kindergarten. As sad as I am that I wasn't able to meet you at Kindergarten Roundup, I am super excited to get to know you and your child and to be able to be with them while they embark on this wonderful journey of kindergarten. Have a wonderful summer, and we'll see you in the fall.